Story time, guys. Billy's Bucket. Today, the authors Kes Gray and Gary Parsons, and I love this story. It's funny, do you remember about what he wants for his birthday? It's a bit unusual. Ready? Can I have a bucket for my birthday? Asked Billy. Billy's dad looked up from his newspaper. A bucket? You don't want a bucket for your birthday. Nobody has a bucket for their birthday. Why don't they? Said Billy. Well, because, Billy, said Mum, buckets are just too buckety to be a birthday present. But Billy would not be persuaded. Please, can I have a bucket? I know, have a bike, said his dad. Oh, what about some new trainers, said his mum. Or a computer game. Please, can I have a bucket, said Billy. All right then, said Billy's dad. You can have a bucket for your birthday. Yippee, said Billy. The next day, Billy and his mum and his dad went to Buckets R Us. There are buckets of buckets at Buckets R Us. There are rubber buckets, plastic buckets, builders' buckets, metal buckets, garden buckets, farmers' buckets, seaside buckets, and even football buckets. Billy's mum and dad followed Billy up and down every single aisle. What sort of bucket are you looking for? They said. I don't know, said Billy, but I'll know when I see it. Billy looked long and hard at every single one. There it is! He shouted excitedly, look, that's the one I want. Right there, 19 shelves up, 78 along from the left. Billy's mum and dad got someone to help them. They all look the same to me, said the shop assistant. No, that one is special, said Billy excitedly. When Billy got home, he ran straight to the kitchen and filled the bucket with water. Wow, said Billy, peering inside his bucket. I can see a rock pool with crabs and seaweeds and little shrimpy things. Of course you can, Billy, smiled his dad. Wow, I've just seen a shark, said Billy. Of course you did, Billy, laughed his mum. Don't think they believe him, do they? Guess what I've just seen now? I've seen a stingray, some clownfish and a huge shoal of barracuda. I think I've seen a mermaid, but it might have been a red herring. Of course you have, Billy, said his dad, and Billy carried his bucket to the lounge. What's in your bucket at the moment, laughed Billy's dad. 2 submarines and 1 pilchard, said Billy. What's in your bucket now, laughed Billy's mum. 7 sea lions and a walrus, said Billy. Of course there is, Billy, laughed his mum. Billy was still staring into his bucket at bedtime. Billy's dad nudged his wife and winked. Billy, is it all right if I borrow your bucket to mix up some wallpaper paste tomorrow? Billy looked up from his bucket and frowned. No, it isn't. There are dolphins in my bucket at the moment. You must never borrow my buckets. Billy's mum waited a few moments and winked at her husband. Billy, is it okay if we borrow your bucket to water the roses with tomorrow? Billy looked up from his bucket and shook his head. There are 2 scuba divers in my bucket. You must never, ever borrow my buckets. Billy's dad chuckled to himself and waited a few more moments. Billy, is it all right if I borrow your bucket to clean the car tomorrow? Billy looked up from his bucket and sighed. No, it is not all right, There's a coral reef in my buckets at the moment, and you must never, ever, ever borrow my buckets. What an imagination, laughed Billy's mum and dad. Come on, time for bed. Billy put his bucket away and went upstairs. Thanks so much for my lovely birthday, he said, and for the best present in the whole world. When Billy woke up the next morning, he got dressed quickly and ran downstairs to play with his bucket, but it wasn't there. I told you not to borrow my bucket, said Billy. Look what's happened. Billy's dad has borrowed Billy's bucket to try and wash the car. I think the whale has come out from his bucket. Oh no! And you know what? It took Billy's mum and dad 6 hours, 3 fire engines, 4 cranes and 1 shoehorn to get the whale back into the bucket. And you know what? They never borrowed Billy's bucket again. The end. That was a good one, wasn't it? Good job, guys. Good. Thank you for listening.